checking out the backyard I created. Best I could do for the moment. Need to clean up that wood. This is a bit steep, and I think this is the septic drainage field somewhere. I really should get that mapped out at some point, because I don't really know. So I'll continue my tour from the other videos. This is the ravine, I guess you would call it. It's heavily treed that directs all the water down to the creek. You can really see some targets to the trees for shooting. Although I wouldn't want to hurt the trees with bullets. I'm going to find somewhere to shoot later. See down there, but there's a lot of rocks. And there's more and more rocks as you go down. And the water digs into this really deeply. You can see these, looks like a massive quartz boulder sticking out right there. Pretty cool looking. A lot more rocks and boulders as you go down. A little bit of trash I'll have to clean up later. More targets for shooting. The dogs, hopefully they're behaving. And hopefully I did a good job building that fence. I guess this will be a good test because they're going to want to join me down to the river, which is where I'm going right now. Boy, it's really deep in there. Oh. You can see I'm about to fall down this. See these large quartz rocks. God, they're really nice. Eventually I'll collect a bunch of these. And that one's like perched. But you can also see I can easily build a little pond out here. Look at that quartz. It's like polished nicely almost. I mean, it's clean and white, I mean. A little bit of trash there. And so this is the ravine that directs most of the water down to the creek. And as you get down to the creek and the river, it's a little flatter. And like I said, lots of interesting rocks and bricks there. A lot of wood I need to clean up. This area is nice and flat. Of course, it's so close to the water, I don't know if it's flood zone or something. So if I do build down here, I might have to put it on stilts or something. Or, build a platform. You can see the creek comes all the way down from where I was standing earlier this morning is up on that huge cliff, which you can't really see through these trees. And the creek goes through the entire property. Rocks everywhere. And digs in pretty deep here. And it's constantly flowing. I don't know what feeds this creek, but it seems to always have a nice steady stream of water. And there's a lot of possibilities for making a pond here. Just have to clean it out, dig it out, make it a little better, maybe stop up the water just a little bit. And instant pond. Even here looks like it could be a pond. They installed a tube, an overflow tube. So the stream, creek, flows around here. There's a tree I gotta clean up. Probably do that next weekend. Start building a fire. Pile for fire. So what's really interesting about the way it feeds this river is the water goes underground here. But I assume if there's too much water have this overflow tube to prevent this from becoming a pond. So that would be probably one of the easiest ways to make a little pond right here, is if I just remove that tube and let it maybe make a flow over this thing. But it makes a nice bridge, so it probably shouldn't ruin it. And here's the little fire pit area. The wind blows so strong that every time I put these chairs back up, they are always tipped over when I come back over. So yeah, look at the size of that rock. Nice quartz rock here. So there's a view of the river going towards town. And this is a view of the river going away from town. There's the tile factory, or textile factory I should say. Going down to the river here. The ground changes color here. It's more dirt with a little bit of sand. But yeah, this is what's kind of wild and weird. The creek goes underneath this tree, which is massive, and it feeds the river underneath the tree. But I guess overflow goes over here. Yeah, look at all those rocks. It shows you what's underneath all this dirt. It's just massive rock formations. Now I'm gonna show you. I'm at the actual river level right now. But if I climb this hill, I quickly remind myself of an old Mountain Dew commercial where they're jumping off a cliff into the river, because I'm going to be about 50 feet above here in a minute. There's an old barbed wire fence from when it used to be a farm. Ramble. More barbed wire. Now I'm about 40 feet above the river. It keeps going. I have no idea where my property ends. But yeah, this is actually kind of dangerous here. Massive tree. I'll hang on to the sapling. And now I'm a good 50 feet above. And if I keep going up this hill, the size of these trees, if the sun is too bright. Big rocks sticking out. At some point, I'd like to get my metal detector around the property, around the creek. There's probably some cool little gemstones, and as far as the metal detector goes, maybe some gold or artifacts from the fact that this is such an old city. There's been people living here in Rocky Mount since the 1700s. And I'm sure that this river, even if there wasn't a house here in the 1700s, the Native Americans and just people traveling down the river would take a little break here, because it's a natural little rest stop. cool. Got some ideas in the future. This is, like I said, I think this would be a really nice little pond, perhaps, which would make a place of water a little easier to access. And then maybe a little farther up the creek, a nice little bridge, maybe even a little building that straddles both sides. And have the creek flow underneath it. I think that would be kind of cool. But maybe where that tree is right there, it's already fallen across it. But it'd have to be a stable part. With all this water draining in this thing, it might have to be a little bit even farther up the hill. But yeah, if you took advantage of that cliff, I can see where you can put a platform across it. Be somewhat of a design puzzle, but or just put something over here because it's nice and flat. And maybe you put it a little bit off the ground in case it floods. Anyway, that's the backyard.